Hi, everyone. Welcome to This One's Dedicated To. My name's Chris Barton.
And my name's Jennifer Ziegler, and we both write books for young people. And we love speaking with other creators, particularly about the dedications in their books.
That's what This One's Dedicated To is all about. Today, we are joined by our friend Steve Sheinkin to discuss the dedication he wrote for his new book, Fallout, SPIES, SUPERBOMBS, and the Ultimate Cold War Showdown. Hello, Steve. How are you?
Hi, Steve.
Hi, Chris and Jennifer. Thanks for having me on. I love what you guys are doing.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Fellow video creator during
Yes,
this
yes.
time.
We are also fans of your work in that regard and your books. Would you mind kicking us off by reading aloud the dedication in your book?
Yes, I happen to have a copy right here of Fallout. And okay, here it is. For my big sister, Rachel, you showed me the path.
Ooh, intriguing.
And
If you could tell us a little bit about Rachel and why it's dedicated to her and illuminate us on the mystery.
yeah, so like I said, she's my big sister, 2 years older. And we were always close, though. Kind of went up and down in terms of how close. When I was about 2, she pushed me off the couch when we were watching Electric Company and broke my collarbone. But I forgave her for that. And then there were many years where she was too cool for me. And then many years where I was too cool to care about an older sister. And then as adults, we've become great friends. And she is also a writer. And so where the dedication comes in terms of showing me the path, we had many years we were just, doing our thing, both living in Brooklyn and writing the kinds of stuff we wanted to do, but also having crummy jobs on the side. And she eventually got this job for a textbook company. And she hated it. She just hated it. She's very creative and wants to be writing for the theater. And it was just not a fit. And I was doing all kinds of even worse jobs, restaurants, temp agencies, just anything. And I got a job for a graphic design firm in Chelsea, in New York City. And it was super hip and I didn't belong there at all. And basically my job was to be the receptionist. I was supposed to kind of run the office, but it involved a lot of smiling and a lot of decorating of the office and buying muffins at the right time. And I could just never get any of that right. I didn't know what they wanted. I was terrible at it. And so she said, well, maybe I could get you some work, freelance work doing this textbook writing, but I hate it and you'll probably hate it. And that was that was enough for me. I said, that sounds great. And at first it was boring. I mean, it was making lists and double checking, fact checking things like that. But I worked into it and I actually got to the point where I really liked it in a way that she didn't. It was, researching little sections of text on anything from Lewis and Clark to how to read a bar graph or anything, but what I loved about it or came to is that it was, first of all, much better than the jobs that I was doing. And it was writing. I was actually being paid to research and write. And so she showed me the path in that way, but then there's a bigger meaning to it because eventually she said, that's it. I can't take it anymore. I'm gonna quit and do the kind of writing I really want to do, which was for theater. Mm-hmm. It's a bold leap, especially, without knowing where your income's going to come from. And she had some opportunities, but these were shows that weren't making any money at that time. They're just in development. And she ended up getting in with a group of people who are making a musical that became a Broadway show. It was called the 25th annual Putnam County Spelling Bee. Yeah. So Broadway fans will know that one. And if you look at a poster, you'll see that the book was written by Rachel Sheinkin. And if you really know your Broadway history, she won a Tony Award for that.
Wow.
And that'll happen pretty quickly. I mean, within a couple of years of quitting the textbook job. And I said, wow. So I followed her into that world. And then I said, I'm going to follow her out of that world because I don't want to write a musical, but I want to write my own stuff. I want to do my own thing. I had done the textbook job for years. And it was a blessing in disguise because I learned so much. It was practice writing very, very efficiently. I researched all the time and found hundreds of stories that they wouldn't let me use. And so that inspired me. What she did inspired me to make that leap too, and say, all right, I'm gonna go freelance. I'm gonna give up what was to me a good paying job with benefits, and I just try to do my own thing. And it's easy to say now, well, it worked out. I mean, it took many years. That transition was very slow, but that's why the dedication is to her.
And so now, are you keeping an eye on what she does next, so you'll know what you'll be doing in a few years?
Yeah, I have to know where to go from here. But I mean, it took a long time. Every writer has this, or should by rights. No one should just like write something when they're 20s and suddenly become successful. That's boring.
That's wrong.
No, yeah, that's wrong. It's just wrong, and you'll never learn that way. You'll never grow as a person. So, yeah, once I'm doing this, I don't ever want to do anything else. I mean, I just want to keep going. So with a book like Fallout, it's just the kind of thing I always dreamt of writing. You know, taking all this mountain of research and turning it into hopefully a page-turning kind of thriller feeling book. But it's all nonfiction, and it covers a lot of the stuff that was in those textbooks way back when. There would be a unit of the book called The Cold War, and which we never get to, by the way, because by that time the year is over. I never learned about it, except, you know, I was alive in the 80s, of course, and in school, but we never got to past World War II, you know.
Well, given the kind of the air of mystery in the latter part of the dedication, you showed me the path. Is that something that you expect that readers will ask you about, that you hope readers will ask you about, that they'll notice?
You know what? I never thought of that. I worked it out. I think that exact line belongs to my wife, who's also named Rachel, confusingly, because I just said, all right, I'm going to dedicate it to Rachel, my sister. Like, what should I say? You know, that's basically, I mean, every author hopefully has someone like that who can basically say, what should I say? And it's crazy that one person gets credit for a book, because it's always such a team effort. And so we came up with that together. And I guess I thought Rachel would get it. My sister, Rachel. See, this is confusing. And that was enough for me. But you're right. It does require an explanation.
Well, at what point in making Fallout did you let your big sister, Rachel, know that this book was going to be dedicated to her?
I'm not sure she knows yet. Came to as of we're filming, this is the week the book came out. I did a virtual launch 2 days ago, and she was there.
Yeah.
But I don't think she has a physical copy yet. I didn't want, should I tell her, you think? I thought it would be kind of fun for her to open it and see. Do you think that's cool, or should I tell her now?
It's about intrigue. I think you should extend the intrigue and see how long it takes.
Yeah.
Of course, it's more intriguing.
Maybe she'll never read it, and then that would be really embarrassing.
It's intriguing to painful.
And then there's this episode. Maybe she'll hear about it. Did you know the entire time that you're going to dedicate it to Rachel, or was there a certain point where you went, I know who I'm going to dedicate this book to?
Yeah, it was a certain point, and I have a hard time with it. I mean, I've written a fair number of books, you know, this kind of book, about 10 of them, and so you think I would have gotten to her by now. I only have 2 other siblings, and they both got books, but it had to feel right. Like, one of them, it was just, this book, I thought of you. This seems like your kind of story. This seems like your kind of story. And it's not that this book had that association with me, with Rachel, but it was more the path that I was reminded of, how vital that was, and how lucky I am that I found my way to this kind of work.
So it's not that when you thought of mutually assured destruction, you thought of her off the couch watching Electric Company.
No. I mean, she was in high school with me at that time, and you know, we probably watched nuclear apocalypse movies together. Remember The Day After?
Mm-hmm.
Stuff like that. I was just fascinated by stuff like that, and obviously very influenced by it. So yeah, in that sense, we shared the World War III.